So welcome back, everyone. My next guest has been on with me for about 6 years, and I absolutely love Howard. We have Howard Farkash. He's an insurance and benefits, I should say with an S, advisor, and your agency is called the Howard Farkash Agency. Now, I want to talk about you for a second.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so Howard is about the most meticulous person I've ever met in my life. What I love about that is that because of the business that you're in and how you educate people, you really help them understand what they're doing. And I'm going to give an example. I had a question that I asked that I wanted to ask you. You came back with a very long email detailing every little aspect of the question that I asked you, and it made me understand it so clearly. And that's the way you work with your clients.
Well, I thank you. That is so true. I do work in that way with every client. And I do that because I think it's very important for people to know exactly what it is they're buying and to not be swayed by advertising, which only highlights the greatness of the products being sold, but fails to necessarily indicate where there are gaps. So we try to make sure that people understand the product, understand its limitations and exclusions just as well. My agency was developed over a period of about 15 to 20 years. I came here in 1998 to help my parents in their retirement, and I liked it so much I decided to stay. I'd been involved in the industry prior to that, back in Illinois and Wisconsin, basically. But the point that I'm making is giving detailed explanations is only good if people can understand them. So consequently, I don't use what I call a lot of jargon. I put things in regular, everyday terms, which people can understand, and they do appreciate that.
Absolutely. Now, just about yourself. You want to talk a little bit about you?
Well, yeah, I am on Medicare, so I understand from both the inside and the outside.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in the Midwest. I went to school at the University of Illinois, and I got a master's degree at the University of Dallas. I was involved in a totally different industry until until the mid-90s, basically, when I started becoming involved with the insurance business. And I became involved with it predominantly because when I owned my own business in the food equipment business, I had oversight on the benefits programs for my employees. And so many of them were retiring on nothing more than Social Security, even though we paid them well. And even though we had a halfway decent retirement program through 401k, they still were retiring on nothing more than Social Security. So it pointed out to me that people don't really know a whole lot about finance. And I decided I wanted to educate people and help them understand what kind of products were available that was going to make their life easier as they became older and took on greater responsibilities, and finally the responsibility for themselves in retirement. So I cater to an audience that's basically anywhere between 35 and, one of my clients is 96 years old. So I do take care of people at all ages. My youngest client happens to be a child about 2 years old. So, I mean, as far as covering the waterfront, yes, I do cover the waterfront in terms of age of clients and in terms of the products I sell. I sell health insurance, which includes Medicare. I sell long-term care insurance. I sell disability income insurance, and I sell life insurance. On top of that, I also assist people who are retiring and need to take their 401k plan and put it under their own control, basically, through an IRA, basically. So that's the scope of my work and the things that I do. But the most important thing that I do, as you mentioned, was to educate people. And what really interests me most is taking a look at how insurances are sold and how things are not told during the selling process. And a lot of things that are not told are the gaps that people discover when they go to use their policies.
So what do you mean by that?
Well, that's interesting to say. For example, let's take a look at Medicare, for example. There are two types of Medicare products being sold out there today: Medicare Advantage plans and Medicare Supplement plans. They're not the same, they're not similar, and both have their positive points, no doubt about it. They're both well designed to serve the purpose that they have. But gaps will occur when certain things are not told. For example, on a Medicare Advantage plan, there's a hospital co-insurance that must be paid. And when that must be paid, it could run as much as $250, $300 per day for a week in the hospital. It could wind up running $3,000, $4,000 very, very easily. People are not prepared for that. A lot of the Medicare Advantage plan people are not prepared for that. But there's a way to counter that. There's a way to get that insured. There's other insurances available at very nominal costs which could cover that gap. So that's just one kind of gap. The other gap that's very common to both Medicare Advantage as well as Medicare supplements is care after you get home, basically, after you've been to the hospital and you're in therapy. While it is true that there is home health care for the medical purposes, but there's not for the other activities of daily living, for who's going to help you get out of bed, literally get out of the bed, who's going to make sure you get to the restroom, who's going to administer your medications for you. Oh, my son or my daughter will take care of that. Well, maybe yes, maybe no. It sounds easy. I often get smart alecky, and I say, have you told them about that yet? And they shyly smile, and the answer is usually no. But you can't always depend upon your friends, neighbors, and relatives to take care of you when you're recovering from having been in the hospital. And there are plans, once again, that will provide that, both medical as well as non-medical. In terms of medical insurance, medical part of that home health care, maybe your health care plan, a Medicare Advantage plan, may say we'll give you 2 weeks of physical therapy 3 days a week. But you need more. Who's going to pay for that? And the plan says, no, we're just giving you this limitation. Those are the kind of things that people need to be told about. There are gaps in virtually all plans, no matter what side of the equation they're on. If you have a stroke, and you're going to be bedridden because you have a stroke, who's going to pay the cost of that? If you have to be institutionalized, look, we all want to make sure that we can take our care at home, and to the extent possible we do that. But some of us just must, of necessity, go to a care facility, a skilled nursing facility as they're called. Well, those are very expensive propositions. You can buy a short-term care policy or a long-term care policy, something to get you through 2 years or something to get you through the rest of your life. These are important omissions. They're design omissions. They could be designed into your health insurance, but if they were designed into your health insurance or your Medicare, you'd be paying a lot more for it, basically. So this is these are the gaps that we try to make sure people fill. When it comes to retirement, we fill gaps there just as well with annuity kind of products. Annuity products give you growth and safety. No, they're not as robust from a growth perspective as assets under management through index funds or mutual funds, but they are safe. They're oriented towards safety because you have to be more safety oriented as you grow older. You don't have the time to recover any market losses. So we fill the gaps. There have to be things to fill the gaps. We sit down and work with people just like a financial advisor does and say, where do you want to be financially? How much money do you think you're going to need? And how are you going to get it? And what money do you have already? And should we move some of that money? Those are the kinds of things that we get involved in, filling the gaps in coverage, because most gaps are discovered under duress, and then bad decisions are being made. So we try to avoid those kind of situations. Bad decisions about your long or short-term care after surgery or after a stroke. Gaps in your retirement plan, basically. When the market goes down, have you a portion of your holdings been established so that they won't go down when the market goes down? These are the kind of things that people look at. So my educational process is not so much on product, but it's to answer the what-if questions, to plan for the unknown, to deal with unknowns, basically. I'm also working on my grandchildren at the present time, and you think they have unknowns? Yes, they do. And the tough thing in planning for them is it can only be mathematical planning at this point in time. Mm-hmm. At this point in time, because they don't know what they're going to be doing 5 years from now, 10 years from now. But they have to be conscious of it. I grew up a time when the tides all lifted, all ships basically. All I had to do was be frugal. Not only do people need to be frugal now, but they also need to be smart. They need to be financially literate. and I like working in that area just as well.
Yeah, and I think it's awesome because when you sit down with somebody, it's not just selling them a product. You really get to know that person and designing products that will help them have that peace of mind like we were talking about earlier. It's a different kind,
Right.
but it's peace of mind as well.
I want my customers to be able to sleep through the night and not worry, okay? Buy sleep insurance.
Just call Howard at 602-909-8433. Hang tight, we'll be back in just a minute.
Excellent.
So we're gonna talk real quickly again, when you come back, we're gonna talk about sleep at night. Real quickly when you come back,
Okay.
okay? I like, is this your logo?
Sort of,
I
yeah.
like it.
Yeah. At least you get my energy up. Yeah.
You're doing fine. Welcome back, everyone. We're talking with Howard Farkash. And Howard, just before we went on a break, you said that you want your clients to sleep well at night.
Well, that's exactly right. So a friend of mine coined a phrase. He calls it sleep insurance, basically. But when you know you have your affairs in order, that makes it that much easier to go to sleep, basically. What we at our agency try to do is we try to offer what's called concierge service, basically. We want you to understand your products, know that they're there, know how they'll work for you, and where to go for service once you need to go to service. We want to take the mystery out of, for example, take the mystery out of Medicare. And for most of our clients, that is the core of our relationship with them. It stems from my long-term involvement with Medicare products over a long period of time. And so I know Medicare from the inside out. I know how to guide people in such a way that's going to be advantageous to them. It can be overwhelming. Most of the people we deal with have never bought a health insurance product before. They don't know how to evaluate it. They don't know how to look for the limitations, look for the exclusions. They just hear a lot of advertising, and they go with the flow, as it were. But unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier, there are gaps in coverage, and we try to get those gaps covered just as well. Sometimes it looks like a very big difference in cost between a Medicare Advantage plan versus a Medicare Supplement plan. But if you take the Advantage plan and build it up so it's almost like a supplement, you don't have that same cost differential. Right now, most of the Medicare Advantage plans in Arizona have no premium whatsoever, and that's very attractive. That's very attractive until something happens. Okay, so Medicare Advantage plans are great as long as you don't have to use them. Take the flip side of it. You can buy a Medicare Supplement plan. They're great, except you're paying for money you're not using it. You're paying premiums. So you've got to reconcile that difference and find out where you want to be in that whole matrix, and find out your sweet spot. What's going to allow you to sleep at night? Do you want $4,000 and $5,000 hospital bills? We can take care of it, okay? Do you want to get away from premiums? We can take care of it. We can do virtually anything you want as long as you express that to us. The unfortunate things, by the way, there's two types of brokers out there. There's a telebroker who wants to make a sale, and there are brokers such as myself who started out as independent business people and have continued to be along those very same lines. They want to get to know the client and really address the needs specifically. We don't want to be on the target. We want to be on the bullseye in the target, and everybody has a different bullseye, and that's what we're looking to hit with our concierge type of product and service.
His phone number is 602-909-8433. Just call Howard, because this is a free service to you to sit down and talk, and this is how meticulous he is with each one of his clients, because you're going to start, you get to know them and find out what their needs are, and it is a concierge service. It's also building a customized, not a program, but a plan that will help their needs through the end.
That's exactly right. So not only that, when you deal with somebody who's local, you know where we live, you know how to get to us. When you deal with the telemarketers, the people over the telephone, they have one objective, and that's to sell a plan. Hey, I have the same objective. I want to sell a plan, but I want to sell the right plan, the one that's right for you. If it's a Medicare Advantage plan, I want to make sure it has your doctors, that it has your prescriptions, okay? That it has the lowest, given those two conditions, it also has the lowest maximum out of your pocket. That's why you buy insurance. If you want a Medicare Supplement plan, I want to make sure you've got long-term care to go along with it, because Medicare does not cover long-term care, and long-term care is one of the most overlooked aspects of the retirement planning events, okay? You have to look at that just as well. So we cover the waterfront. We do work with young people. Young people have underage health insurance. They have some horrendous gaps in their coverage. In order to achieve a low premium, they buy a very high deductible. So there's ways to fill that deductible. We're just here to make sure that people can sleep at night.
The number again is 602-909-8433.
Well, that about summarizes what I have for you. What
But
questions do you have for me?
Well, because, I want to know what happens. Let's say somebody's listening, and, you're talking about long-term care. And some people might say, well, I'm too old for that.
Well, the answer is yes, you might be too old for that. There are age limits on it, but we're talking about age limits in the 80s plus, basically. You can still get it in your 70s. Long-term care has changed. I bought a long-term care policy a long time ago. And that was the very old-fashioned traditional long-term care policy. But there are other kinds of policies out there that are hybrids between annuities and life insurance, which the underwriting has become much easier for some of these plans, and you don't lose it if you don't use it. The money you've put into those plans will go to your heirs. So let's talk about the changes to long-term care. many people that I deal with now in this day and age formerly looked at long-term care, and they either couldn't qualify it because of health, or it was just simply too expensive. The market has caught up to the people's need, and that's what we show people at this point in time. So it's something you ought to reinvestigate again, because again, do you want to sleep well at night? Do you want your kids to sleep well at night? Hey, you guys who are in your 40s and 50s, your mom and dad are getting to the age where they might need long-term care. Let's get them to, let's participate with them. Let's help finance them through that. They financed you through a lot of your life. Maybe you might chip in a bit to make sure that you're not gonna be stuck with taking care of your parents, basically. There's nothing wrong with that, nothing immoral with that. As a matter of fact, a long time ago, kids did take care of their parents when they got old. They took them into their homes and took care of them, basically. So there's nothing new or different, it's just how the care is provided.
Mm-hmm.
So keep that in mind just as well. And usually it's the ladies who take care of their parents.
Yeah.
And maybe some of you ladies are working. It's the college kids. Hey, Junior, you're not going to college this year, we gotta help grandma, okay? Let's take a look at changing that dynamic. The sandwich generation, you've got to live with and figure out the reality of how you're going to plan for. And by the way, long before funding is arranged, it's the plan. What are we going to do when X happens? You really need to have a plan, so it doesn't come to you as a surprise, doesn't come to you where you've got to make last-minute quick decisions.
One of the things that you talk about often is having life insurance with living benefits.
Oh, absolutely. That goes back especially to the younger folks, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you need the living benefit when an unplanned event, and it's a serious event, happens, and you can't go to work. You need to have either disability insurance or long-term care life insurance with long-term care benefits, and that's available also. So the market has changed. Some of the rigidity to the products has changed. I don't particularly enjoy talking about products very broadly. I enjoy much more talking about them specifically for the case that's involved.
For each person.
And you can't do just what your neighbor does, because your neighbor has a different set of requirements. Getting back to life insurance for a moment, why do people hesitate to buy life insurance and instead buy nice cars which they can park in their driveway, or a nice boat? Those are fun things, basically, but are they going to make you sleep better at night? I was raised during an age when we talked about financial responsibility, family responsibility. I see some of that dissipating, basically. I see a lot of it, but I see a lot of it dissipating just as well. And that really is a shame, because will your kids be better off if you're not here? The answer, of course, is no. The answer is, what do you want to do? What responsibility? What level of sacrifice? I was told when I came into this business a long time ago that people buy life insurance only for one of two reasons. They either owe somebody an awful lot, and they're using the life insurance to pay off a debt. In order to pay off that debt, they had to get a life insurance policy, or they love somebody very much, okay? So the question I'm asking is to examine and see where your priorities lie, and make your own decisions. I don't make judgments, I just give guidance, and maybe I'm being a little bit of a parent here when I say, look at your family responsibilities and execute accordingly.
I also think the responsibility lies within the family, and having that consultation, having the talk, and having you come in and educate them, because that's what you're all about first and foremost. I love you, Howard. Just call Howard. The number is 602-909-8433.
It's been a pleasure being here. Take care.
I felt like it cut, you know? When you were saying what you were going to say, I thought like it cut, you know, I don't know what happened.
I don't know.
When you were saying what you were going to say.
Okay, it's fine. We did.
Did you like it?
We did just fine.
You did fine.
We did just fine. It wasn't just another Medicare show.
No, not at all.